There it goes. All right. Good morning. We will call the Grant County Board of Commissioners to order. It is August 21st, all three members present. I would ask that you all stand with us. Mr. Stewart is going to introduce our prayer this morning, then I'll lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah, I'm pleased to be able to introduce Pastor Amy Beagle. She is from the River Church here in Marion. And she's going to, if you don't mind, step to the podium and she will lead us in prayer.
Thanks for this opportunity and thanks for all your time. And on behalf of our community, let's pray. Lord, we thank you for this time. We thank you, Lord, for these leaders in place here that give of their time to represent our community members. I pray, Lord, over them that you would just bless them with unity, that as they make decisions, they would have unity for their mission, even if they have differences of opinions on some decisions. Lord, I pray that you would give them unity for the mission and the vision to be able to better our community for the benefit of all of its members. I thank you, Lord, for the wisdom that is in this room. And we thank you for establishing these leaders for us. I just pray over them, Lord, a special blessing and that your favor would rest upon them. And that in the end, Lord, I pray that our community would be reached for you and that our community would be better for the time spent on their behalf, Lord. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Face the flag, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Thank you very much. Pastor, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Amy.
All right, first up, approval of current claims minutes payroll. We have some authorizations that we can go through. Something dangerous today. I've got a red pen. Pre-approval first on August the 14th. Invoice edit reports, general in the amount of $75,140.04. Other batch, $164,750.75. Highway batch in the amount of $12,765.65 for a grand total $252,656.44. That was pre-approved, and we would need a motion to ratify that pre-approval.
I'll make a motion to ratify the pre-approval for 8/14/23.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Stewart, second, Mr. Wright. Any discussion on those invoices?
No, sir.
Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
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 Aye, it is carried. Today's business with regard to invoice edit reports, the general batch is at $251,966.60. Other batch, $189,708.96. Highway batch, $121,498.86 for a grand total of $563,174.42. We haven't done a pre-approval on that, so we actually need to discuss and pay the bills if you have any questions on those.
I have no question. I'll make a motion that we approve the batch for 8/21/23.
Second.
Motion with support. Mr. Stewart made the motion. Mr. Wright seconded. With no discussion, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is carried. We do have the payroll number 17. It was pre-approved on August the 16th. Paid on August the 18th, gross amount of $180,212.63. So we would need a motion to ratify that pre-approval.
And I'll go ahead and make the motion to ratify payroll number 17.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Stewart, second, Mr. Wright. Discussion on that?
No.
Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is carried. All right, we have taken care of claims and payroll. We do have a regular session, May 15th in front of us that has gone through editing process. Any other questions or comments on that, gentlemen?
No.
We would need a motion to adopt this.
I'll make a motion that we pass the regular session meeting on May 15th, 2023 and approve the minutes.
I second that motion.
Motion, Mr. Wright, and second, Mr. Stewart. Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It is carried. And looking at the weights and measures report, we have kind of two things we need to do. We need to receive the reports listed. That would be ending March 23 all the way through July of 23. And we also have an annual report from June of 22 to June of 23. That is in our packet. So we have the monthly reports as well as the past year's annual report. I don't think Mark's with us, but if you have questions, we can compile those, get those to him if need be. What's your
So you just need,
desire?
a consent to accept.
We receive reports, yeah.
We receive report. Before we do that, I've ridden with Mr. Fleming and interesting job he's got. I had no idea about that before I was a commissioner. And just letting everybody know, every scale, even at Walmart, every register, he has to test. Imagine how many things is in this county that when it comes to weight and measures, it's like unbelievable, the amount of one-man show. So appreciate what he does every day and making sure that we're following the rules for the state.
Just Walmart scales. We're
Everything.
talking the
Gas pumps, I
Yeah.
mean, any kind of measurement. When I went out to a farm implement place that did herbicides and all the chemicals and all that kind of stuff. I mean, we had to load up a truck with this chemical and to make sure it was within the tolerance of what they were and spot on. I mean, unbelievable. If you get a chance to do that, Ron, you might want to do that.
I'll do that.
Yeah, fun. So I would make a motion that we go ahead and accept and receive the weights and measurements monthly reports as well as the yearly up to date.
And I'll second that motion.
Motion, Mr. Wright, second, Mr. Stewart. Any further discussion on that?
No.
No, sir.
Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
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 Aye, it is carried. Communications, board updates, that's elected officials, boards, special committees. We'll start with the auditor's office and work around other elected officials.
Nothing to report.
Nothing to report. The budget process is alive and well.
It's going well.
All right, good. Other elected officials. Special committees. Hearing none, we will move,
I actually asked Mr. Hicks to present.
okay.
Good morning. Thank you for your time. We are needing to do a maintenance agreement for the 3 battery backups that are tower sites. Those carry the communication system load between the time of power failure and the time the generator kicks in. And they also carry anytime there's a generator failure. I would like to do a 3-year agreement on those, and it's $11,260 a year for each or for 3 years for each site. For a total of $33,780. I figure the 3 years will give us time to work with the council and try to work out the PSEP tax or however we're going to move forward. But the 3 years will buy us time.
Do we have that in our packet?
No, I sent it to you electronically. I have copies here if you'd like to look at them.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
So they're for the 3 locations, they're for each location. Give you an example, there's a 3-year
The contract would cover one preventative maintenance per year per site, guaranteed 4-hour emergency response 7 days a week. Parts and labor is included. There's some limitations on the parts, and then all of the work would be done by factory certified professionals.
So again, help me out. Is this coming from the communication policy board, or is this coming from you as director?
It's coming from me as a director.
Okay.
I've spoke with Marcus, the IT director, as well about this, and
I have a good email briefly.
Okay. So right now, in case of power failure, we have a glitch that it's not kicking right in.
so there's always a delay between the time the power failure occurs and the time the generator kicks in. So this curbs that. So there's no so if you lose power to the site, everything shuts down, and then everything has to be brought back up in order for it to function. So this will catch the power failure quicker than the generator can kick in.
So this is a go-between, basically, between.
And then if anything happens to the generator, then this will power the site as well until we can figure something out with the generators.
Is that what's been wrong with our radios a couple times? I'm sorry if I.
Not that I'm aware of that.
No, okay.
This is the stopgap to keep it
Right.
going.
Right. But I think we've had a couple glitches.
We've had one instance where the communication huts overheated.
Okay.
That was out
But
of
it wasn't
the
anything to do with it.
It was nothing. No, it
Very
was
good.
it was HVAC related.
Gotcha.
And this is out of contractual services, I'm betting.
It's a good bet.
Okay. And we have funds and contractual services to cover this.
We do.
At this particular moment.
Yeah, we're dwindling, but we haven't.
And you're recommending the 3-year $11,260
Per site.
per site,
Per site. So it'd be 33,000
3 times 3.
33,780. And that there is a 3% discount per site for the 3-year plan.
So the 11,260 is for one site,
Yes, sir.
it's a contractual service.
And this is just to,
It's the stopgap.
if something
So-
goes wrong, this is just to keep us going until the generator kicks in.
Correct.
Seems like a lot.
We're talking about a multi-million dollar.
You've got $2.4 million wrapped up in the communication system. And there's approximately 500,000 at each hut.
Need a motion for this?
Unfortunately.
I'll grab it since I got the contract here. So I would make a motion to accept the proposal for service from Vertiv.
Yes.
Is that the way you pronounce that? To the tune of $11,260 per tower. To go ahead and have this for the change up between the generator and the loss of power
For a 3-year contract.
for a 3-year contract.
I'll second that.
We've got a motion with support so we can discuss it. I did not look. Does this have an automatic renewal?
It does not.
It does not.
Okay, good. That's good.
There we go. Somebody actually,
Done something that we wanted.
that's right.
It's in Kyle's hands right now. He hasn't
Okay,
signed off on it.
so if you will.
Addendum to the
Approval.
approval from our attorney.
Sure.
that the contract is in the best interest of the county.
You'll
And I'll
still
still,
support
I'll
that.
still, yeah, I'll second that.
All right, so we do have a motion with support. More discussion, questions?
Sounds like it's something that we pretty well have to do.
Yeah, it does. Was there any discussion with any other companies as
No.
far as?
No,
Okay.
Does anybody do anything with this or
no.
this is the only company that?
We typically just deal with the manufacturer
Oh,
and,
okay.
and their authorized techs.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
Right, you ready to vote?
Sure.
We have the motion before us to go with the Verti 3-year contract for each of our sites. And we will
Yeah.
not sign that contract until our attorney gives us the approval that all things are good for the county.
And do I need to make an amendment to the motion to have you sign it as president representing us or not?
It only takes one signature.
One signature?
It's,
Okay,
as long as we got one,
good. Okay.
we're good with
Just
that.
want to make sure that was covered.
Yep, just one signature.
All right.
Okay.
All those in favor would say aye.
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 Aye. It is carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We got to watch Kevin because he wasn't even smiling. He just comes deadpan and tells us we've got to have.
I know.
Marcus usually smiles. That's an indicator.
I haven't got that far yet.
Thank you, Kevin. All right. Does that constitute our IT report?
No.
Marcus, are you going to share anything today?
Nope, not today. I think Kevin got me taken care of.
All right. Thank you,
For
sir.
today. Thank you.
All right. David, Highway Department.
I presented in front of you a list of roads that we're looking at paving this year. I talked to Brooks last week. They're planning on doing our community crossing roads approximately around Labor Day. So we'll kind of see where they stand with the holiday. I don't really want the roads all tore up long weekend and stuff. So we'll see where we stand there. I kind of got them in the list of how I'd like to proceed afterwards. That's why Central Avenue and Mills kind of the next roads that I'm going to look at because they'll be in that area down on 200 South and Garthwaite Road. So it's kind of why I've done it the way I did it, but we'll kind of see what happens after we get started. So that's hopefully helps you gentlemen out on some of the roads that we're looking at paving this year. So we had our kickoff meeting last week with Bridge 16 out on EOOW. Their plans are to start approximately the middle of October on that project, and they might not get the paving all done, but they'll leave it in stone for the winter and then come back in the spring and finish it kind of thing. We're replacing a big culvert today on 400 East, just south of 200 South. Probably take us at least 2 or 3 days to get that completed. So we're working on that. And that's about all I have, unless you gentlemen have anything.
In my driving through, it seemed that you had mentioned the 14th Street Bridge in Marion. We're working on.
I met with them last week, a design company, to kind of see where we stood on designing utility agreement and everything else. So,
Did you mention that you were working on a walking bridge side for that, like we did for the 10th Street?
right. Yes. Yes.
Because I when I drove over it, I recognized that there was not any
Right.
area for actual foot traffic. So
Yeah. Yeah. We might extend that project out each block, each direction, for utilities and for sidewalks, etc. So we're working with the city, the Cardinal Greenway, and everybody else we'll get affiliated with before we start designing the bridge. So
okay, because that, as I recall it, ancient history, but 98 or 99, when we had that flooding,
Hmm.
that bridge was literally washed out.
Yeah.
And so I know that's a problem area there.
Yeah. And we have that area there. It has that little park on the south side.
Mhm.
So we're going to work with the city, see if they want to install maybe some caution lights or something of that. It is a very busy street. I'll have to say that since we were out there. So we'll work with them and see what they want to do. So,
In a city, but you could put out some deer crossing signs there too.
no, really.
We have multiple deer.
Oh, really?
Your building,
Yes.
the new one,
Yes.
the roof ripped off of it the last Wednesday we had and stuff. How are we coming on that?
The adjuster was out 2 weeks ago, I believe it was. They kind of sent a estimated quote of what they did to fix it was $32,000 or something. With our $10,000 deductible, we have to go from there. I need something in writing from the contractor. I contacted him last Thursday saying I need something in writing so I can get that to the insurance to see if they verify if they accept that or not. If I remember right, he thought it was going to be a little bit more than that. So Justin said we'll just have to get with them, see what they say, and go from there. So,
Because I want to bring up a couple things that after looking at it and things like that, the post that was down was not cemented into the ground.
mm-hmm.
Is there any discussion about that as far as contractor is concerned? I mean, it was in the ground maybe 2.5 feet and the
Yeah.
wind got up underneath it and took it. Would concrete have kept it there? Would,
We was
I
getting
mean,
ready.
we're going to pay a $10,000 thing. I think there needs to be a little study in on that to
Yeah.
make sure that it's not really our fault.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say we've had that discussion a little bit and the adjuster, he didn't act like it was I said something to him and he just kind of acted like it wasn't
No big deal.
yeah. And he was a private adjuster for he didn't really work for he worked for the insurance, but he wasn't affiliated with the insurance, I should say. He was a private individual that did the inspection. So
Hmm.
he just kind of went up on top of the roof, took pictures, said, yeah, okay. Yeah, wind damage. I was like, okay. So
Well, that's fine for him to do, but again,
Yeah.
county's on the hook for 10 grand.
right,
And I'm not sure, I don't want to say negligence, but
right.
what should those posts have been in cement
Right.
instead of just put in the ground?
Yeah.
I'm struggling with that just a little bit, and I don't know if that's a split between us and the contractor when it comes to the 10
Well,
grand.
that's what I was when
I mean,
he gets
me-
with me. I'm going to say that hey, we
Okay.
don't feel like we should pay for this. We think some neglect has been done. So yeah,
Okay,
I'm waiting on him to get back with me.
Okay.
Like I said, I
Okay.
called him Thursday, and I was hoping to get something today or tomorrow. So
okay, thank you.
Anything else for David?
thank
We
you.
both quizzed him, grilled him. Why don't we need Ron to do it too?
When are you going to get to 500 East? Going? I go down that road.
Well,
I'm glad to see it's on there. It's definitely needed. That
Yeah.
is. So, how's that?
That's great.
Thanks.
All right, we're ready to go to old business and Dwayne, you gonna give us some more updates or is Dawn gonna give us some updates or you're gonna tag team us today?
Well, I got a lot of estimates. I did not get them all. One of our electricians did not get back to us. So I gave you the sheet I gave you before. There's estimates in the back. Some of them are just things I pulled. I mean, office chairs, you don't really get an estimate for. And Mark, I have that map I told you about.
Thank you.
The use of that.
Oh, very good.
One of the things to take note of is the desk. The one that I printed off the internet is a little bit cheaper than Peerless, but Peerless does install, so
Hmm.
do that. One of those. Yep, Stacy. And David's here, he can address the drainage in the front drive. Vince did come out. He's not comfortable doing the electric. I think he talked to Justin about that. He did, however, think he can handle the front door, the fact that it doesn't latch properly and you can see light through it. He thinks he has a solution for that. He can do the little, like the water line for the refrigerator, garbage disposal. He was going to call your company that you use, Electric Plus, right? Electric Plus. So since I didn't get an answer from my contractor for the electrical stuff, I thought we would just approach that with them. They did it before for us. They did the dryer and the laundry room. They could probably do the stove and then did I cross off? There was something I had on there that I crossed off because we took care of it. Justin,
Garage door open.
garage door opener inside. We took care of that. This is the estimate from Bill Callis includes the stairs and the toe boards up top, so that was like 2 items we got in one.
So the two at the bottom, the stairs to loft and toe boards.
Yeah,
that-
he put that
that's-
in one estimate.
That includes that's included in the 12.8. Oh, it's,
The other one. He should have 3 estimates in there.
okay, I got you. Yep.
And the other twist that we have Bob in the room for is, the fire marshal compliance with stairs. We talked about that.
So, no, we have not. Official word with the fire marshal's office on that. I do know when they were out there originally, when the building was built, their recommendation was that really doesn't fit the criteria for storage area in their opinion. Of course, it wasn't really put on the table at that point, so we didn't pursue it much further, but the conversation we had with him, so. And really from a practical standpoint, I'm not sure how much benefit we would get from that. Due to the low height in there and it's hot and that part isn't, that's not air conditioned or heated for that. There will be heat, but it'll get pretty hot up in there. So you're pretty limited as to what you could store in that area. Medical supplies, certainly not.
Most of them have the plastic on them that just would get gooey and sticky and, yeah.
So personally, I question the validity of, how much.
You've been using it for that,
Invest
yeah.
in that.
You can put a lot of paper up there and stuff due to weight.
Right,
Right.
exactly. So there is a weight limit.
Yeah. Have we figured out what that weight limit is yet or not?
We don't, and I've looked at the prints that wasn't on there.
Okay.
I'd have to go back to the original architect and see if we could get that, but I think it's gonna be pretty limited.
I do too. I don't know how much
Yeah.
really is going to be worth spending that kind of money
And
on
by the time you have
steps.
the railing, the toe kick, the stairs, it gets pretty expensive.
This is another curveball. Justin, are you aware of how much we still have in renovation, our remodel line item?
Off the top of my head, I'm wanting to say 70.
70,000?
Yeah. Do you know,
I'm sorry, I don't.
for remodel? Approximately,
I know we've used a good chunk of it, but I think we would be safe to start working some of these items off that list.
The Electric Plus is also going to do the load test, correct? I mean,
Yes.
that's on our list of things we want them to do.
That's
To see if we can even, now the electrical to the new building and the old building that are connected runs off of the building we're in now. So that is also something else that's gonna have to be addressed.
If we demo the other building.
Uh-huh, yeah, it all runs off of the old building. And when I say old, I mean the one we're in now, then Bobby's side and our side runs completely off of our old building. But that's all on, and they haven't been out, Electric Plus.
We asked her to come back with prices. She did.
And she did.
Hey, I know how to shop. Okay.
So. So the stairs to the loft and the toe boards to the loft are not in your total for the 33,547?
Yeah, they are.
They are?
Mm-hmm.
Where?
It's on, well, I didn't save, oh yeah, I saved myself one.
Oh, I see it now. I'm so sorry. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. I see it.
The third one that's
Yep.
in your packet.
Yep, I got it.
Now, Dwayne brought up if you did want us to have access to the loft for any reason, and Marcus may need it in the future because that control something is up there that used to be in the kitchen. We could put a attic pull down in the hallway. That's a lot cheaper than this, and
But to
it
get,
could be right where he needs to go.
but to get anything up there. I mean-
No, wouldn't be for storage, just for Marcus to be able to get up there
Oh, okay.
to access.
Oh, gotcha.
There, in the kitchen, there was a great big cage with, I don't know the technical,
It was the network, right?
the network rack, and they moved it up. If he needed to get to that, maybe an attic access would be good for that.
Is there a
That would be-
concern about the network rack overheating since you put it up there?
Marcus, are you?
Marcus said no, that there wasn't any concern. At first, we thought we would have to put a fan or an air conditioner type thing on it or box it in, percentage thing. What's up there, the heat should not
Okay.
bother.
So just,
The troughs would be mounted below that.
And so that's just the cable router then,
Correct.
more or less. Okay, I'm good with that. Okay.
Kind of a conjunction
Yep.
router type.
Okay.
it would be clearly for access in case something went
Yeah.
wrong,
Okay.
they could get to. That's an easy fix for, instead of doing the stairs and all that.
How much is it? If we take that 7,200 and some odd out, have you figured out? What
Have
you're
not.
doing?
No, I just adding the concept of the attic stair. At this point, I would say that the attic stairs to the loft is not a priority.
I would say the same thing. So that brings the total cost down to 26,267.16 without the steps and the toe board. And we don't know how much money we have in that account. Is that correct?
No,
A tough time spending money when I don't know where I'm at. Kind of like home.
No, the wall in the break room that was added, Vince thought he could probably take that out. What he was uncomfortable with was the finishing where on the ceiling and the floor. That's not a very big estimate anyway, but finishing it on the ceiling and the floor where it's being removed would probably have to be higher done anyway, so doesn't help a lot, but it's one.
Which account are you guys looking at? Give you a June 30th balance.
That'd be good. That'd be
It
good.
was a remodel.
Is it in the commissioner budget?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then when it comes, Mr. White, when it comes to that drainage in the front drive, which definitely needs some work. We've already been out flooded one time, right? Correct? Do you see a cost there at all?
Oh, I looked at it the other day, I'll be honest with you, the only way I know to really get rid of the water, I go get permission to go down on IMI's property and drain it down there by that creek. And that's probably south of George Junior's old facility. I mean, we're probably talking, I was gonna say at least 6,000-7,000 feet. And the problem is I gotta worry about is on that south driveway is we've got gas and sewer line right up there. And I'll be honest with you, I really haven't took any elevations to see where they're at, if they would be in conflict of running a tile that far. And to be honest with you, I didn't see any other direction to go to discharge the water. About the only location I could see.
So I know I talked on an earlier project, but I mean, responsibility of the contractor to take a look at site elevations and things like that. I mean, are they supposed to do that when they build a building for us or anything to make sure we don't flood out? Or, I mean, this is, I'm just seeing
we weren't moving up all the offices over there until after we were just working on a full barn. And
okay,
it was in place of where there was a barn at one time. And so I can't say that all those things were looked at.
At the time, I think we were looking at something to do with COVID as far as the drive-through clinic, which has served very well. So that was the original plan. The original plan did not call for that to be office space.
gotcha. Okay.
So we're evolving as we go.
Yeah.
That makes
sense. Working against us.
Yeah. I mean, you could see it. I mean, we discussed it when we took the tour, and I think it was a week later, it ended up flooding.
Is there drop at Garthwaite if we were to do a 90-degree and take it out there, put it into the side ditch?
I don't know. The only thing bad is going to the west. Basically, like you said, you're gonna go uphill to get that way. Or I should say to the west of the facility. I mean, going through that hill, you're probably gonna be 8-9 feet deep at least to get it.
Get your drop.
To get your drop. Because it's probably 2 foot in front of the building. At least going up where the parking lot is. It's probably at least a 2 foot incline up just to the parking lot.
And no way to run it to the pond or lake or whatever that is behind, right? Too far. Isn't there something back there? Somebody was telling me it's beautiful back there, lake or something.
So south.
That's where I was talking about.
That's what you're talking about.
There's a creek down there just less than a quarter mile that goes to the river.
Yeah.
That's what I guess I was saying is going that direction, but you're going over somebody else's property, you'll have to get permission to outlet there, but that's the closest route I know to go.
Do you have the equipment to shoot elevations?
Yeah, but I gotta dig everything up, like the gas line and the sewer line, and then I'm gonna have to, go to make sure that we can get underneath or over them or whatever.
Do we have any kind of pump that could work when we do have a problem like that it would pump that water someplace else to just get it away from the building?
I don't think this gas city wanted in their sewer system, but I kind of mentioned that.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, we're not gonna go there. Okay.
That's the only thing is.
I'm just.
Oh, I know.
Thinking out loud. I mean, it's like, wow.
Yeah, I said something to Bobby the other day. I was like, could we just put it in a gas city sewer system and pump it that way? So.
What about a small retention pond?
I say that'd be fine, but it's still the same thing as you gotta have somewhere to drain that retention pond. Sooner or later, you're gonna have to drain that to get rid of that.
Okay.
And then you gotta worry about mosquitoes and everything else.
I'm striking out here.
Well, I'm gonna play off of your,
Okay.
if we had a retention pond somewhere to the south side of that unit, would, water rescue, training, would there be any type of, Homeland Security money that we could do to do that and use it for your training purposes out there at the site?
It'd have to be pretty deep in that area to be useful.
Probably 6 feet at least.
Yeah, at least. And there again, you're talking about some real estate you're gonna take up there.
Mm-hmm.
Pool would be nice and ground. Would come in handy.
I can approach the state about funding for the site. They were out the same week you gentlemen were.
Uh-huh.
And surveyed the site from the state's perspective, so yes.
I mean, that is a jewel for this region in what we use it
For the
for training.
training, yeah.
And so if there's a way to figure that if the state could pick up some money with us to get that done, it may even become more of a asset to the purchase state training. We won't have to send all our people down to Muscatatuck. We could just do it up here. So
Yeah, I can approach that and see if there's funding for that. And then David and I can take a look, we'll see how deep it is. We will, I've seen it pull to the east of the building some, and then eventually runs off, but not like on the west side. It's naturally wanting to go that way. Trouble is, it's wanting to go through the building to get there.
Mhm.
And the gas line on the west side of the building, right in front.
Yes, west and into the south side.
And then the sewage runs on the east side.
Yes.
Of the south driveway, so.
okay.
And there's not a lot of fall there. I mean, we're probably at the minimum for that sewer line the way it is.
Okay.
I can do some elevations if you want me to sometime. Kind of see where we.
I think we have to.
Gotta do something. You guys don't want to fight that every time we have a pretty good sized
It
rainstorm.
doesn't happen very often, but when it does.
When it does, it's a mess.
No, we're talking about like our whole entire office, computers, outlets,
Yep,
power strips,
Yep.
everything would be wet.
yep,
You don't want that.
nope.
You just wanted to swim the pool, so.
Yeah, that's all I wanted.
She wants it outside her office, though, not inside her office.
Right.
We'll take it inside. and heat it.
Right. It's not indoor. No.
Back to this, are we agreeing kind of that maybe just take the stairs to the loft and the toe boards out? Is that kind of where we're at for the funding? And were you able to find any funding?
According to my reports here, the June 30th balance would have been about 82,000.
Okay,
We're gonna cut it down a little bit, so
yeah,
we can get all the interior work done, and then we're gonna have to work with David to get the exterior.
right.
Billy's estimate won't change on the other two projects if we take out the,
No, he won't. No, he won't care.
If the chair is ready for a motion,
Yes, sir.
I would make a motion that we pass the proposed needs, less the stairs to the loft at 7280, making a grand total of the request $26,267.16.
I'll second that motion.
Motion with support. Mr. Wright made the motion, Mr. Stewart seconded. Any further discussion, comments, questions? Sly remarks?
I think we beat it to death.
We've covered it. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. It's carried.
I mean, proceed. Give him the go ahead.
I think that's the green light.
Okay. Guys make me nervous.
Thank you, Don.
You're okay with Peerless on that since the install would probably be well worth the $200?
Yes,
Okay.
Yes. Especially with what you guys have went through with those desks anyway, right?
Well, we've got the use out of the ones we
Yeah,
got.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We bought those when we were here in Justin's office.
Yep.
Moved them out there, moved them a couple times, rearranging, then we cut them down. So we've got the good use out of them. And they're 20 some years old,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we are looking now, I believe, at a Mill Township Public Library appointment. We had an individual that decided to no longer serve, and the recommendation was for Christina Payne to be the replacement.
I think we needed the previous person to resign
Yes,
first.
and I did confirm that she did withdraw
Okay,
her
good.
name from the board.
Very good.
I'll make a motion to approve Christina Payne as the new appointee.
And to fulfill the unexpired term.
Yes, for the Mill Township Public Library. Yep.
And I'll second that.
Right, motion, Mr. Stewart, second, Mr. Wright. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is carried. We can sign that paperwork. We questioned this last go around, Central Dispatch project invoice. Kevin, what are you thinking these days, sir? Again,
I think it would be okay to go ahead and pay the past due balance. They've worked with us diligently to resolve whatever issues we have, and I don't think the lack of payment would be any benefit to that.
so at this point, we have no outstanding issues or punch lists that,
No, we're still working with the sheriff's department to resolve some issues there. We've made some changes to the system, and that seems to have helped the Marion Police Department quite a bit. And we've not got any reports from any issues with them for the last week and a half or so. So
my other question is, at one point, we were paying this through our general contractor. Are we're going to pay this direct? Is that
would be my recommendation.
pay it directly to the vendor?
I believe the general contractor has signed off on that.
Questions, comments, gentlemen?
And I believe this would come from out of the U.S. Bank loan, if I remember right.
Yes, and there's a balance that'll cover this.
Okay. Chair, ready for a motion?
Yes, sir.
Make a motion that we go ahead and pay the final installment for J&K Communications to the tune of $283,054.24.
And I'll second Mr. Wright's motion.
Mr. Wright made the motion. Mr. Stewart seconded. Any other discussion, questions? Hearing none. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Now we get to new business, unless you have other old business. Did we miss anything?
Nope.
All right. We have a proposal, jail camera proposal. Mr. Camry.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Glad to be before you. I don't know, do you guys have this,
We do.
this picture? Let me pass these out.
I think I got it.
No, we do
I
not.
got the.
The jail's seeking to install two new cameras based on a recommendation from Stanley, who does the service for our cameras, in between door 14 and door 22. So if you see those two little blobs right there, that would be camera 1 and that would be camera 2. The reason why we're asking for the cameras is because we're insufficiently covered there. And this is a main thoroughfare for traffic for our inmates that go to court on Mondays and Wednesdays. The only camera that we do have that kind of covers this area is down here by door 6 through the processing area. And so what happened was we had an incident that took place a couple weeks ago where one of the inmates refused to come in through door 14, and there was a use of force that took place there. upon hearing and in doing my investigation on the use of force, I wanted to review video. That's always helpful. It's always good to have for court. We had no video for that. And so I was unaware that we didn't have coverage in this area. And it actually only makes sense. It probably should have been covered for a long period of time since we use this area so often. I mean, you get people coming back and forth from court. They could get a disposition, obviously, that they don't like, and they're coming back into jail. And there can always be some type of a use of force situation there. So we do need to have that covered for video review, which protects the county, protects our jail deputies, and so forth. So I got well, they gave me a quote. So the first quote was like 14,000. I don't know if you see it there, some odd dollars. And I thought it was going to somewhere run around $4,000 to $5,000. So I called Stanley back and asked them, you know, what do I need to do to lower this? Because obviously that's very expensive. And they said, well, do you have anybody that can run Cat 6 line? And I said, yeah, I can do that. And we've got some guys at the merit deputies that can do that for us for free, which is nice. And not a problem. So then they shot the second figure back.
Okay.
So to run Cat 6 line, it seems to me, right, 100 and maybe, well, no, less than 100 feet, it's $8,000, which is crazy. So the price right now is $6,000 to do everything that we would run the Cat 6 line.
Looks a lot better than the first one, doesn't it?
I know.
And that's the only difference between the two.
The only difference between the two that I can tell.
I mean, did they have to go through concrete walls to run the cat?
No, it's actually very close. If you look at your map there, where door 22 is and where that first camera will be, and then door 14, they're going to be a camera that's like door 9, which they will give a down vision and then also a progressive vision outward. So that way you can get more of that hallway there through 22. The control room is right there. So it's all on the same floor. All we have to do is just go over and through the ceiling and down. So I'm estimating it maybe 25 to 50 feet. I don't know exactly until we run it, but, and we also have the Cat 6 line. We already have some that we can use, so we're not going to buy any that way.
These two cameras fall under the current contract that we have.
Yeah, so I asked that question, and Stanley said that it would be covered by the current contract. There would not be any, it wouldn't go, the contract wouldn't be increased in any way this year. But obviously, every year is probably different and probably wouldn't be an increase, probably be an increase anyhow, even with what we had. But, you know, 2 cameras, I wouldn't say is substantial increase either. So, but no increase this year.
And this says taxes not included. We don't pay tax, correct?
That's correct.
Of all the cameras I know that we have, I never even dreamed we didn't have this area
That covered,
reviewed,
right?
and it's a necessity.
It is.
It really is. So I would entertain a motion if you gentlemen are interested.
If you could, this is on Kyle's desk as well, so I'm waiting for approval from him.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve adding the 2 dual cameras in the amount of $67.95 per our attorney's approval.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Stewart, support, Mr. Wright. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is carried.
Good job getting some savings there.
Yeah, well, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, well done.
I'll be able to stand in, I think, for the sheriff here on the Eastbrook safety officer also.
All right. Go ahead and want to make your presentation, go right ahead.
Oh.
We'll let
Captain Haley can do it, no problem. I didn't know. Got a little ahead of myself there. I didn't know if he was, Obviously, this is the same contract that we've had before. Sheriff Garcia is putting this up for the next school year. I don't think there's been any changes in it, and I think you've approved it once before. It is for the SRO there at Eastbrook.
Mhm.
It's a
Standard
standard contract.
contract, absolutely. Any questions for the department?
I have none. No.
We would need a motion to approve.
Is
Mr.
that
President.
the original?
Mr. President, I would go ahead and make a motion that we approve the sheriff enter into a contract for us to Eastbrook Community Schools with the Sheriff's Department to provide a resource officer there.
Second.
Motion with support. We're done talking?
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye, it is carried.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right. We have Upland STEM. It's a project that is going to be presented. Matt with us this morning? Let's see online, anyone representing the Upland STEM project? Not with us this morning. Okay, we will move on till we have a presenter. We have overdose awareness event. Carly, is Carly in the room?
No, she's having me speak on her behalf.
Very good. If you'll come up to the podium, present your name and address and make your presentation.
So my name is Brian Blevins, work with the Core Plus program. I've had the privilege of working in Grant County for the last 5 years. Came into Grant County from Blackford County as a part of the CORE program, which is the Community Opioid Response Endeavor. That was a grant through Marion General Hospital and Grant Blackford Mental Health. Worked on that grant for a few years, became the Life Change Director at the Grant County Rescue Mission, went on to be the Grace House Supervisor for about 1.5 years. And now I'm back. A new grant was written, and now I work for Bridges to Health back on the Core Plus program, which I originally came to Grant County for. So I'm 8 years clean, set free from drugs and alcohol. Kind of my story. So this field really hits home to me. They had volunteered me to speak on the grant's behalf. I don't know why. I'm kind of nervous right now. You can probably hear it in my voice. A little shaky right now.
You're fine.
Doing great.
So this is the Core Plus Overdose Awareness Walk. The date would be August 31st. The time would be 4 to 9 p.m. The location would be the Grant County Lawn. Kind of what we put together is let's come together as a community and raise awareness about overdose prevention and the importance of supporting those affected by addiction. The Core Plus Overdose Awareness Walk is an event dedicated to educating, empowering, and remembering those impacted by drug overdose. So lace up your shoes and join us as we embark on a meaningful journey towards understanding and compassion. The walk will take place at the scenic Grant County Courthouse lawn, providing a beautiful backdrop for reflection and unity, hopefully. The event is an opportunity for individuals, families, and organizations to stand together and make a difference. By participating in the Core Overdose Awareness Walk, you can help elevate awareness, promote prevention strategies, and reduce the stigma surrounding addiction and overdose. Following the walk, we invite you to stay for the Grant County Drug Court overdose. My wife's calling. Provide space for remembrance and healing. Together we can support each other through love, compassion, and understanding. So the 31st is overdose awareness, and we would hope at 4 o'clock we hired a food vendor to feed for free everyone that comes to the walk, which is probably a lot of food. We've been granted space at the pavilion where Mr. Morel owns that, so we would be able to do the food in a safe place, have the fenced in area for, kids and families as well, and set up the food vendor behind the stage because there's 220 plug in, which would be nice for the electricity. We would be requesting that there be an electric outlet that we could use on the courthouse lawn. We have talked to the mayor that has agreed at 6 p.m. to make a proclamation. We've talked to some law enforcement. It would also be great if we could get the space on Nebraska. If that could be blocked off possibly in between 18. There's a trailer. It's called Open in Plain Sight. It's where youth and teens could hide paraphernalia or other things like in plain sight, and you would be shocked like at how good the youth is getting at like deceiving their parents and those things. So we have a booth that we would like to educate for an educational purpose. We also have some bouncy houses that we would like to set up for the kids, possibly a dunk booth. We want to set up some porta pots, obviously, so people would be able to use the restroom. Last year, we used the Grace House as the first location. So drug court hosting an event afterwards to where they do a candlelight vigil. Last year, we were separate from drug court, which really didn't make sense for us because that's the large part of the recovery community. So at first, we wanted to use the river, which Amy was here, which she granted us to use the river. And then everyone came to an agreement to be unified instead of hosting separate events like we did last year. If we could just do a unified event so everyone would be present and, we would have more people for the awareness. So that's the request that I have. The speaking, there's outside vendors of Grant County as well as inside vendors for Grant County. We've been trying to raise money. We also have grant funds that's paying for other costs. I think the only cost the grant can't pay for is for the food. So we're giving away swag and other stuff and trying to, offset how to feed 400 or 500 people or however many people. Because I've done free food and free food will get you there, if anything. So that would be my proposal. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer any questions.
What's the times again?
4 to 9. They have 4 to 8, but they're wanting to do a candlelight vigil, and I don't think it gets dark at 8 o'clock. So it says 4 to 8, but I think as soon as it gets dark is when they would, light their candles, and that's not a long process. Everybody gets a cup and a candle, and they just remember those who had passed. They have some pictures and stuff of those who lost loved ones or, so that's kind of the idea.
So you mentioned closing a street, and I believe you said Nebraska.
Either side would be great. Just, I know the main 18 wouldn't work.
So again, I'm just trying to figure out, it's a city request, not
Yeah.
a county request.
Right. Right.
So you'll need to go in front of the county council.
Yeah.
I know you
Right.
love to
Yeah.
talk.
Well, no, and it's
Or
the
in the
31st.
City council.
Yeah, and in my opinion, they kind of got this going a little late.
Yeah.
So my frustration of this is a 31st event and here I'm asking
Yeah, yeah.
for a location.
And we're okay with that.
Yeah.
But you will have to go in front of the city council or talk to the mayor's office or
Yes,
whatever.
sir.
If you're looking for Nebraska
Yeah.
or even Adams or Washington, if you're trying to block that off, if is this an all downtown event or does it go down to where the CVS is and things like that?
No, so there's a walk that's going to take place at 7:30, and I think we're Second Street. Some of the community there's isn't the greatest parts of town, and so we thought, if we walk through there, just bringing awareness, and there's help, and
Well, you'll definitely want to get with the Marion Police
Yeah.
Department.
okay.
And
I
tell them-
think they have.
Okay.
And they didn't put that in the request. I just
Yeah. Yep.
so
Just like I
that
said,
way I could take it to the board and they'll know from what I hear.
So the request that I'm hearing from you is to make sure you have a 220 plug on the courthouse someplace.
Well, I think
Right.
they would use 110 for the
Yeah.
because it's
It's
just
all there.
yes.
It's all there.
Thank you.
Was there anything else in his talk that we need to address?
He knows that they're looking at porta pots.
Yep.
We don't have access. As long as we have power, we just need him to work with Vince on making sure that their power is sufficient.
Yeah.
And we just need to give them approval.
Yeah. Mr. Blevins, you did a fine job.
Thank you.
Did a fine job. Thank you so much for coming up. And I'll make a motion that we give approval to the overdose awareness event that's going to take place August 31st from 4 to 9. And to support that.
And I'll second that motion. Motion, Mr. Wright, second, Mr. Stewart on the overdose awareness event. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye, it is carried. All right. Liz was already standing up and ready to head this way.
I have material on boards.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's recent.
Okay.
Synopsis of what I've.
Okay.
Hey, it's been a long, long, long while since I addressed this organization. I'm Liz Wright. I'm the executive director of the Senior Center. And a little history. Back years ago, in the early 90s, all of you guys in here probably don't remember Earl Gottschalk. But Earl was a very distinguished politician here in Grant County. I served with Earl on the county council. I was the first female elected, and he was a little hesitant to accept me at first, but then took me under his wing. He always accused me of being a misplaced Republican because I was on the Democratic ticket. But he and I got along just great, and he taught me a lot about the county council and the county council's business. And he taught me a lot about county as a whole. And I remember he all of a sudden took on a project, and it was very, very dear to him. He said that probably the most neglected population in our community were senior citizens. Now, this was back in 1990 before I actually became a senior citizen. But he told me that we needed to have a center for them, and he put together a planning committee. They worked and they decided they would put together a senior center. They met with back then it was the Presbyterian Church. It's God's House now. But behind that church was a building, a community building for the church, or fellowship hall for the church. And it was called the Daniels Building back then because the Daniels family actually built it for the Presbyterian Church. And they were getting ready to sell it. The church was actually closing, I guess you would say, or no longer practicing there, or they were moving on. And so the planning committee with Earl at the head got a hold of Merlin Lowe. They got grant money from him. They were able to purchase that building. So the senior center had a place, a location to meet, and it has been there since 1990, serving the seniors of Grant County. So it's 33 years it's been in operation. In 2004, they added an addition onto the front of the building, a more modern addition. So there's actually two parts for the building. In 1990, the county began donating, as well as the city of Marion, to support this center for the community of Grant County. The county I look back in my records there at the senior center, so that's why I'm getting this information. In 1990 through 2006, the county donated $25,000 a year for the support of the senior center. And from 1990 to 2004, the city donated $35,000. In 2004, the city upped theirs to $50,000. So the county actually quit funding in 2006. The city quit funding in 2015, just when I came on board there at the center. So that was really a hard blow for the center because we try to keep our budget low. I am the only full-time employee there. The others are part-time. I have a part-time cook, a part-time bookkeeper, and a part-time assistant. And we operate 5 days a week there at the center. But we do a lot more for seniors in the community as a whole. People may think that we do offer some fun things, bingo being the most popular, of course. And then we have euchre. But we have on a regular basis, in fact, this week, we'll have an attorney, legal aid attorney, come from Indianapolis to give free legal advice. We have a Medicare counselor that comes on a weekly basis, a volunteer that does Medicare counseling for anybody. In fact, the Social Security office sends people to our facility for counseling on Medicare. We have a foot care doctor that comes from Fort Wayne, or excuse me, a retired nurse from Fort Wayne that worked at the VA hospital that comes to take care of foot care for our seniors. One thing we learned during the pandemic years was our seniors here in Grant County were suffering from depression and isolation. I think a lot of people were, not just the seniors, but especially them. We did over 600 phone calls on 4 different occasions. And the main thing that we heard from people, we were the only one that was calling them. So it's kind of sad to know that no one was bothering to check on them. We check on our seniors. We make a safe, clean, comfortable space for all Grant County seniors. We also have internet service available for them to use while they're there. We do a daily lunch. We have lots of things to keep their minds stimulated. And we just want to offer a safe place for all seniors. Now, what I did when I came on board back in 2015 was drop the age of the membership there at the senior center. I dropped it to 50 because once you turn 50, AARP sends you a membership application. So I figured if AARP says you're a senior, I'm going to say you're a senior. So we open up to that. And we're just wanting to know if there's any possibility at all for county support. It took me, I had hoped for 3 years to break even again at once the funding was stopped from the city. And I begged and pleaded and wrote grant proposals. And it actually took me 4 years instead of 3 to break even again at the center without county or city funding. But then COVID hit. And COVID did a real number on us. So it took us a long time to get to the break even. And now we're back again to where we're running in the red again. And so that's why I was asking city and county. And I'm going to go back to the city. I've already been denied by the mayor, but I'm still going to try to get city funding in the future. I think it's a facility that actually reaches out to the entire county and to the entire city of Marion. And 40% of our population here in Grant County is over the age of 50. So we're reaching a lot of people there at the center. I will answer any questions you have that I'm able to.
Doing a fine job. That's right. No relation. Liz has been there for quite some time, and I know my father was using your facility.
And loved it.
Loved every second of it. In fact, he invited me one time, and I went to a meal there with him. And what you do is great element of county government. Any kind of funds and things like that also has to be approved by the county council.
I understand that.
I think that I think what they've tried to do, and I believe been successful, the city and county, has really gotten away from not funding any not-for-profits. I don't think, do we fund any other not-for-profit that you're aware of, Mr. Parsley?
Right off the top of my head, there are only a couple projects that we do. That would be for the flag.
Okay.
What about Radiant Health?
That money comes out of the council.
Okay.
We don't have control over that. So.
And again, what you're doing, I think, is so important for our community.
Do you still fund the Growth Council?
Sorry?
Do you still fund the Growth Council?
Ready to take that out of next year's budget.
Well, it's a
Saying so.
right. What's going to happen eventually if we don't get support is we're going to have to close, and those services that we offer seniors is not going to be available in our county. It's a quality of life issue too for the county, and it really benefits a lot of people on a regular basis. So,
And correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, is that a county council, not necessarily commissioners, or how's that work?
When they started eliminating things, there was a line item that the commissioners had that we would pay out to help at one point. Senior Center. There were a couple of other nonprofits that we assisted, and that was just probably the first couple of years I was a commissioner. I want to say 2005, 2006 is when they started shaving those things back. So it's been quite some time.
When I was on the city council from 2000 to 2012, we were funding. It came after my term.
yeah, the funding from the county ended in 2006, Mark, 2006. So, and the city ended in 2015 when I came on board. So, and it's a shame, really. I mean, I understand the philosophy, but I also was in the position and involved in county government. And I understand that some things do need to be funded to provide for the citizens of Grant County. And since we provide for everyone in the county, I mean, we never turn anybody away. Right. Any of our services are open to anybody that's.
So does the community foundation help out at all?
We have a fund, an endowment there at the foundation, okay? And those of you that don't understand, we have a fund, an endowment fund. You don't receive the principal off that fund. You receive the income stream that fund generates over a year back it to support your organization. So we do have an endowment already in place, but it's just a small amount that comes to us.
And then is there any grant monies out there for seniors?
I write grants all the time. And I just, round robins have been fantastic. I went back to them. In fact, week before last, I went back to them and made a presentation for second support for the year. And they were generous. They came forward, not totally what I asked for, but they did give me part of what I asked for. So if there's money out there that I hear about, the Boren Foundation has been generous in Upland. I've applied to AEP. I've applied to the gas company. Anybody that gives out grants, I write a grant to. Some of them we meet their criteria for the grant. Some of them we don't. So, and generally the Community Foundation doesn't give for just operationals or the budgeted items. They'll give for a special project more than anything.
Have you reached out to, have you applied for any FEMA grants? I can send you information we get for both senior centers, faith-based organizations, those kind of things. I can send that your way.
Okay, I'd appreciate that. Yeah. So yeah, I'm willing to write a grant to anybody. Yeah. I know the, and United Way, we're in a United Way agency. So, but I know their funding is probably from what started when I first got there at the senior center today, it's 2/3 of what it was because they've had a decrease in the funding that they've received from the community too. They used to make their budget every year when there were a lot of factories operating here in Grant County, but since we've lost them, that means their income stream is down too. So, but any kind, I'm not asking for 25,000 like you used to give us, but if we could get like a 10 or 15,000 from you and a 10 or 15,000 from the city, then we would break even for the year. So.
Plans on going to the county council. Their next meeting would probably be an advice I would give you.
When is there?
Day of each. Is that correct?
Is their budget already in place though now?
We're working on the 24 budgets right now, yes.
So could I get in time to be on that budget?
This would be a different type of request for right now. We've already established our budget request for now.
I figured you had timing wise, yeah.
So your best bet is to submit a letter to the council for their September meeting.
Asking for release yet for this year.
Yeah.
Okay, I can do that. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But if you find any little funds that you have not committed here, I would welcome them. So, and the seniors of Grant County would greatly appreciate it. Thanks, Guy.
Thank you. Thank you. And thanks for everything that you do.
I will affirm you had done that your dad enjoyed it. Steve, I will affirm that my grandma enjoyed that when she was still with us. She passed in the 90s and she used the senior center for quite a few years.
Yep.
All right, we are looking next up a cell phone stipend request. Don, you just don't want to stop talking to us. Join us and the request is in front of us. Your request is for a supervisor who needs 24/7 access to voice and data.
Yeah, she replaced the employee that went to dispatch.
And did we have that employee on a cell phone? So
Yeah, did I emailed you that, didn't I, to remove him?
Yeah.
Okay.
So really it's no additional
It's a
expense.
flush,
We're
yeah.
just kind of transferring the, chair's ready for a motion, I'll make that motion.
Absolutely.
Mr. President, I move that we pass a cell phone stipend request for
Alexis.
Alexis Case
Did I do?
for EMS.
And I'll second that motion.
That is at the level 2 voice and data.
Yeah, smartphone.
Yeah.
Who doesn't have smartphones now?
Yep.
All right. Motion.
Yeah, the nice thing about that is too, with our scheduling system and our payroll our payroll work, she can do everything on her phone, and she has an iPad too, but she can literally do anything on her phone from home. Someone calls off 10 o'clock at night for the next day, she's on it.
Motion, Mr. Wright, second, Mr. Stewart. Any other discussion? So hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
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 Aye, it's done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have a question. What we talked about previously, Bill Callis, needs half down on anything he does to buy the supplies. How do you want me to handle that? You?
I can take care of it.
Okay,
It's an invoice request through our
Okay.
department. Yeah.
okay, I can do that. All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, last but not least, Justin, you have a recommendation for us?
Yes, so we have an employee that has used all of their earned time off alongside FMLA. They've used up the FMLA, the 12 weeks. This particular individual is asking for extended leave, and per policy, they have to ask you and you have to consider letting them out. This person is actually going to the doctor next Monday and is expected to be released.
So the request is for an extended absence for an additional week outside of FMLA, which has already been used up, so.
And this, the employee is not expecting any pay for that additional week.
That's correct.
I'll make a motion to approve the extended leave of absence as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion, Mr. Stewart, second, Mr. Wright. Any further discussion?
Yes, sir.
Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
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 Aye, it is carried. Any other new business that we need to put on the charts right now?
Yes, sir. Not that I'm ready.
This time, the public's invited to speak before the board. Please approach the podium when recognized by the president. State your name, address, concerns, or comments. No complaints, accusations, or name calling regarding personnel can be allowed during this public discussion time. Time limit of 3 minutes will be given. If more than one person represents a group, only one spokesperson will be heard. It is expected that professionalism and courtesy be displayed at all times during the public comments portion of the meeting. Let's start with online. Anyone online that needs to address the Board of Commissioners? Not seeing any action. Hearing request. Anyone in the room? Okay. We have our first meeting in September, and of course, we have a augmented day because of Labor Day. So our meeting is scheduled for September 5th at 10 a.m. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
All right. Hearing none other, we are in recess. Thank you.